Imagine two students separated by an ocean. One is dissecting a frog in a bustling lab, dreaming of becoming the next tech billionaire. The other is analyzing Shakespeare in a wood-paneled room, destined for Oxford. Both are in school, but are they learning the same thing? What if I told you that the difference between American and British schools isn't just about spelling and uniforms? It's a 100-year-old ideological battle over what education is even for. And the system you were raised in has fundamentally shaped how to think, solve problems, and see your place in the world. Let's rewind the clock to the 1920s. The world was recovering from a war, and the ideas about how to rebuild society were pouring into the classroom. In America, the philosophy of John Dewey was taking root. Dewey argued that school shouldn't be a place for rote memorization, but a miniature society where students learn by doing. The goal was to prepare them for active participation in a democratic life. This was the seed of what we now call progressive education. Picture the rise of the comprehensive high school, a single institution meant for everyone, with tracks for college-bound students, future tradespeople, and homemakers. It was messy, it was chaotic, and it was designed to be a melting pot. This is where we see the introduction of electives, student government, and a huge emphasis on extracurricular activities like football and debate club. The school wasn't just for academics, it was the heart of the community, a factory for crafting citizens for the American dream. Now, let's cross the Atlantic. In post-war Britain, the class system was the bedrock of society, and education was its primary reinforcement. The landmark 1940 for Education Act, often called the Butler Act, created a tripartite system that would dominate for decades. At age 11, every child sat for a high-stakes exam called the 11 Plus. Your result on this single test determined your entire future. The top scorers went to grammar schools, which were academically rigorous. Classical institutions designed to produce the future leaders, doctors, and lawyers, the next generation of the elite. Those who scored lower went to secondary modern schools, which focus on practical skills and trades, preparing students for manual or clerical work. There was a third, less common type, the technical school. But the divide was stark: grammar for the mind, secondary modern for the hands. This wasn't just about education, it was about social sorting. The goal was to produce gentlemen, scholars, and a competent workforce, all knowing their place in the social hierarchy. This fundamental split created a domino effect that still impacts students today. Let's fast forward to the modern classroom. In America, the ethos of choice and individuality reigns supreme. A high school student is like a diner at a buffet. They have a core menu of English, math, and science, but then they can pile their tray with electives from photography and robotics to psychology and drama. The goal is to build a well-rounded, unique individual. The transcript is a document that says, "Here's who I am and all I can do." The pinnacle of this system is the college application process, a holistic review that considers grades, standardized test scores, essays, teacher recommendations, and a dizzying array of extracurriculars. Are you a varsity athlete who started a charity and played in the jazz band? That's the American ideal. It's a marketplace of education, and you are the product you are selling. In Britain, the journey is one of rapid and deep specialization. After the broad curriculum of their GCSEs, at age 16, a British student makes a dramatic choice. They typically select just 3 or 4 subjects to study for their levels for the next 2 years. Imagine an American student deciding they would only take physics, chemistry, and math for their entire junior and senior year, nothing else. No history, no art, no foreign language. This is an academic boot camp designed to create experts before they even set foot in university. A student applying to study English literature at Cambridge will be judged almost exclusively on their English literature A-level grades. This system values depth over breadth, creating scholars with a formidable command of their chosen field from a very young age. But here's where it gets really interesting. The consequences of these philosophies extend far beyond the classroom walls. The American system, which promises opportunity for all, has a dark side of profound inequality, because schools are largely funded by local property taxes. A child born in a wealthy suburb like Beverly Hills attends a school with gleaming facilities, small class sizes, and a vast curriculum. A child just a few miles away in a less affluent area might attend a school plagued by overcrowding, outdated textbooks, and a lack of basic supplies. The American dream of individuality can, in practice, become a nightmare of disparity, where your educational destiny is determined by your zip code. The British system, which promised meritocracy through exams like the 11 Plus, was accused of cementing the very class divisions it claimed to overcome. Studies showed that children from wealthier, middle-class families, who could afford tutors and had a home environment conducive to study, were far more likely to pass the 11 plus and secure a coveted grammar school place. The system, designed to find the brightest minds, often just found the most privileged ones. While the 11 plus has been abolished in most of the UK, its legacy remains. The private school system, where only 7% of the population is educated, still feeds a disproportionate number of students into the elite universities of Oxford and Cambridge and into the highest echelons of British society. The divide between us and them that began a century ago is still palpable. We've seen these two systems, aware of their flaws, try to borrow from each other over the decades. In America, the 1983 report A Nation at Risk sparked panic about falling standards and launched a movement for more accountability, a very British concept. This led to the No Child Left Behind Act and the Common Core, a push for national standardized testing and a more centralized curriculum. Moving away from pure local control, America was trying to inject rigor and uniformity. Conversely, Britain has looked enviously at American creativity and entrepreneurial spirit. The introduction of a new wave of academy schools has given some head teachers more freedom to innovate. There's a growing emphasis on transferable skills, project-based learning, and fostering soft skills, all hallmarks of the American progressive model. Britain is trying to manufacture the innovators it feels its specialized system might be stifling. So, who won? After 100 years, is the American dream of individuality better, or the British ideal of specialized depth? The answer might lie not in test scores, but in the minds these systems have built. The American model, for all its flaws, often produces adults who are adaptable, confident, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. They are trained to sell themselves and their ideas. The British model, for all its rigidity, often produces adults with deep expertise, a robust resilience to academic pressure, and a strong sense of historical and cultural tradition. One values breadth and confidence, the other, depth and resilience. The classroom battle of the century is far from over. It's a living experiment that continues to shape millions of lives every single day. And the next time you hear an American accent or a British accent, you'll now understand that you ray not just hearing a different accent, you ray hearing a century of divergent educational philosophy speaking. If you enjoyed this lesson in history and culture, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, which system would you rather have been put through?